Hello everyone and welcome. This is live. 7 a.m. Eastern is when we broadcast every Monday. Sometimes we may be a bit late, like today. We started about 10 minutes late. That's because I've been having connection problems. Now, before we begin, if you can hear me loud and clear, please do say yes in the comments box or just give me a thumbs up if you're on Facebook. Excellent. Right. So it looks like our audio is fantastic. Right. Today I have a really exciting update for you. It's the new Visual Builder interface enhancements. Now, these are just going to enable you to improve your workflow. So I'm really excited about this and I have quite a lot of things to cover. But before I do that, I'd like to say to everyone that has been tuning in, that has tuned in, thank you very much for tuning in. Here we have Jay. We have Agante, Dr. Steve Turner, we have Musa from France, we have George from Cyprus, we have, I think it's Helga from Iceland, Sumit, I think, from India, we have Andrew from Greece. Awesome. We have people from all over the world. This is very exciting. We also have Rajesh, Andrew, we have Vitaly from Ukraine. You have Janet, Tim, Steve. I can't really pronounce this name. Sorry about that. We also have Osama Erwa from Dubai. Excellent. We have JR as well, just joining us from Paris. Excellent. We're also broadcasting on Facebook, by the way. So if you're on Facebook, just tell us where you are. So far, I can see we have Tran saying hello, Mac. Hello to you, and thank you very much for tuning in. It's lovely to see you here on the show. We also have Anton. We have Atif also saying hi, Mac. Excellent. Right. As I mentioned, today we have a brand new feature. I know we went for quite a while without any feature updates. So I'm excited today because we have. Okay, where was I? Okay, I was saying I'm excited because we had quite a few weeks without any new feature updates to Divi. That's because we're working on our major update, Divi 3.1, which is the developer update, which we spoke about last week. So today we have the new Visual Builder interface enhancements. Now, these enhancements will enable you to speed up your workflow, and also the UI looks much better. So today we'll be covering unit adjustments. We also have gesture-based unit control. We have linked spacing values. We have new improved color picker. Now, this one is one of my favorite. We also have visual previews for media input. So this works for images and also for videos. We also have gallery management, rapid prototyping. This is another favorite of mine, and I'll be showing you how to work with these prototyping. We also have improved option clarity and also inline spell checker. So this is exciting. Let's get started, and I'll show you exactly how these features can be applied and how to use them. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off by going to my website here. So this is my WordPress install, which is running Divi. Now, the first thing you want to do is to make sure you go to updates and just refresh that, because this is how you're going to get your latest update. And by the way, the update that we're running is 3.2, so Divi 3.2. And if you want to check if you're running the latest update, all you have to do is to come over here to Appearance, click on Themes, and then click on Theme Details on Divi, and here is your version number. So that's version 3.2, okay? Excellent. Right, and also if you'd like the link to the latest post, I've also linked it in the show notes below. Right, so let's get started. So I'm going to come over here and just go to one of my pages. In fact, I'll go to my front page, click on edit. So what I've done here ahead of time is I've loaded my layout. So I already have a layout here. And this is from one of our pre-made layouts. Okay, so this is the layout. So what I'm going to do here is to start off by showing you the fine-tuned unit adjustments. So I'm going to click here on this gear icon to enter into my module settings. Click on design. So if I come over here on text, so over here, the units are where you want to adjust your text size. So let's say over here, I need to adjust the title text size. So we can use the slider like that, as we did before. But now, if you mouse over this area, you notice that these two arrows now appear. So these allow you to go up each unit like that. So this is really, really good if you really want to be precise in choosing what amount you'd like. And also you can see what's happening here visually. Now, this is something that we didn't have before. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but this option wasn't there before. So this is just one of those adjustments that allow us to be precise with our text. And also this slider is much smoother. So as I drag this, you can see here that it's very smooth. Okay, so that's really cool. As I mentioned, we have a link to the post in the show notes. Now, if you have any questions regarding this update, please do leave them in the comments box below and I'll do my best to respond to those. Okay, so that was the fine-tuned unit adjustments. Okay, so I'm just going to check quickly here and see if we have any questions. Jay says, I've just installed this one on one of my sites 10 minutes ago. Awesome, that's really great. And it would be nice to hear your feedback as well on how you're using these and how you're finding the update. Okay. George says the alarm goes off on purpose. Someone in the building is trying to sabotage you. That's true, because every time I just before or during the live show, it really goes off, and sometimes it gets really annoying because I'll be in the momentum and then that's just taken away. But anyways, right. Steve says, hurry up, get out. Cool. Okay. Right. Oh, yeah. In fact, I missed some of these shout outs. We have people from all over the world. Today, I noticed that we have someone from Mozambique. That's very interesting. Amente from Mozambique. Oh, in fact, it says Leo from Mozambique. Okay. Ray from Devon. We also have Imams from Indonesia. Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to check on Facebook and make sure that we don't have any questions here. Okay, no questions yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue and move on to the next feature. Okay, so the next feature here is the gesture-based unit control. Now, this one is quite exciting because, in fact, without saying too much, let me just show you how it works. Okay, so I'm back here on my website. So what I'm going to do for this example is I'm going to choose, let's go with this blurb. Okay, I'm going to come back over here. So for this to work, I'm just going to give this a background so that you can see the updates that I am covering. Okay, so I'm just going to use, what color can I use? Okay, so this is just for demo purposes. I know, obviously, we can't read this text well because of the dark background. So the gesture-based unit control are quite interesting because, in fact, let me show you. If I come over here on spacing, we notice that our interface has changed. Now, you may not notice this at first glance, but first of all, if I mouse over where it says top, we notice that we have this dial, okay? So this dial is really cool because we can start dialing this, and you can see here I'm actually adding my margins as I move this dial left to right. Okay, so that's the first thing on the dial. And also this appears on the padding as well, on the padding and also on the margins. Okay, so if we come over here to the borders as well, we see that it's there as well, which is great. Now here, what we can do is we can use this key, this lock, the chain. So if I add my rounded corners, you can see they're being applied to all the sides. But let's go back to spacing, and we need to work with these margins, and I'll show you how this works. So before, we never used to have this link over here. So now if we add this link and then we add our margins, we can notice that the margins are happening both on the top and the bottom. Okay, which is really, really cool. It saves you time, and this is what I was mentioning before, that these updates allow you to improve your workflow and make you work faster. And in some of the cases which I'll describe in this show, I'll also be showing you how we've also improved and made things much easier. Okay, so that's how in fact, let me just restore these values. So on the padding, if I add this lock, right, to the top and to the bottom, which is great. And then over here, I can do the same as well. I've just activated the lock, or the chain, sorry. Now, if I do the same, you can see here that this is being applied really, really nice. So these are the updates to the gesture-based unit control. Right, so if you want to disable this and apply this to one part of it, you can always do that by just disabling the link like that. Okay, so that's how it works. So for those of you who haven't tried this, I would recommend you to go try it out and see how it works. Okay, so I'm just going to check if we have any questions here. Dr. Steve Turner says, great addition. Yeah, I agree. This is really cool. It's a subtle change, but it makes a great difference when you start designing your pages, which I really, really like. Right, Rajesh says time-saving feature. No doubt, this is definitely a time-saving feature. I'm just going to check here and see. Let me just check here on Facebook and see. Right, no questions so far. Right, there's also something that I forgot to show you, which is also very important here. If you click and hold down, you'll notice that this even goes faster. Okay, do you see that? I'm clicking and holding down. So if you click and hold down, it actually goes faster, okay? But you can do this like in unit increments like that, which is cool, okay? Right, so let's move on to the next thing. So what we're gonna move on next here is the color picker. Right, so the color picker is, as I mentioned, one of my favorites because oftentimes when you, before this update, you'd have to really dig deep to find the colors that you need to use throughout your branding. So now we have this option where our color picker is very easy to find. And let me show you how that works. So I'm just going to close this for now. I won't save it because that might just mess up our design. So let's say I go into my text module over here, click on design. Right, so as soon as I click on text here, you notice that our color picker is now here, okay? So we can now change our colors straight away by just clicking these colors right here. And the good thing is these colors are derived from your Divi theme options. So let me show you where that is, because this is very important, because these are just the default colors that come with Elegant Themes, but you need to set up your own colors. So to do that, I'm just going to close this for now, and I'll show you where these are set. So I'm going to come back over here to Dashboard, click on Divi Theme Options, and then we notice here that we have Color Picker Default Palette, and this is what we have at the moment. But you can actually go in and change this and update this using your own branding colors. So if I click here on this color, I can actually change this to, let's say, a dark gray, for example, and then click on the next one. So instead of having this, let me just change this color to maybe this really dark green, like that. Come over here. So I'm just changing these colors at random. I'm not necessarily following a color palette. Okay, change this one as well. Okay, so I guess that's it. I mean, this will work for now. I'm going to click on Save Changes. So now our color palette has been updated. So if I go back now to my page, first of all, I need to enable the Visual Builder. Okay, so let's say I want to change the color of my text here. So if I click this gear icon, click on Design, Text. So now we can see here by default, this is the color that's chosen. So now I can change my color. I'm not sure if you can see this, this color changing, but yes, now it's easier to find my colors. And this color palette pretty much can be found everywhere where we can add a color while we are designing. So this is really, really cool. And let me just show you where else you can find it. I'm just going to close this for now without saving. So let's say this is a blurb. I'm going to click here, click on Design. So you see, if I go into text, we find it there. If I go to, in fact, we won't find it on sizing. And let's see. Yeah, so body text. So that's where we can change our colors, and also on things like the backgrounds. Okay. So you can see here the color palette also shows. So this is a great addition, and these color palettes are really, really cool. Right, so let me just check if we have any questions here, and before we move on to the next feature. Okay, no questions so far. Let me check here on Facebook. Tran says, I've suggested new margins and padding. I do not think Elegant Themes add it in Divi updates. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Tran. I mean, we do have the new margins and padding, as I've just displayed in our linked spacing value. So I'm not sure what update you need to that. If you can expand more on that and just let us know what's missing in the padding and margins. Right, okay. Dr. Steve Turner says, no questions because you explained it very well. Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Ray says, agree, color picker is very useful. Yes, indeed. Excellent. Right, so let's move on to the next item. The next item is the visual previews for media inputs. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to come over here, back onto my site again. Okay, right. So the media previews. So let's say I need to add, in fact, let me add a new, right. In fact, to be honest with you, this is just too much stuff on the screen. Let me start off with a brand new page. Click here on page. I'll just call this 32, use Divi Builder, use Visual Builder. Right. Okay, so for this, this is the visual previews for media inputs. Right, so I'm going to click this plus button here and add 2 columns. So now I'm going to add a video like that. So what these previews are is, if you take a look here on the left here on the video settings, this is the preview that I'm referring to. So before we didn't used to have these previews because we'll just have to go in and add the URL and then the video would show. Okay, so these are the updates that we've just done. So this is the preview, which I think is really cool. So this also works on images. So if I come over here and click on image, we see now that we have this default image. And if I come in here and let's say I choose this, upload image, we see that this image now is right here in this preview. So this is what we mean by the preview for the visual previews. Okay, so it does this for videos and also for images, which is great. Right, so the next thing we're going to move on now is the gallery management. Okay, now in fact, before we move on to the gallery management, I'm just going to close this and delete this. Okay, right, so the next thing is the gallery management. So this is really cool if you're one of those people that, like me, who when building the gallery, it was quite tricky because I had to flip back and forth to see which images I'm selecting for my gallery. In fact, let me just show you how simple it is now. So I'm going to click on new row and I'll just add a single row. And then I'm going to select my gallery here like that. So right now, by default, we have these 4 images, but that's not what I'm on about. So what we need to do here is as soon as you click on add gallery images like that, and you select your images. So let's go with products, right? I'm just going to select these products like that. Select, right, here it is. So we notice that here we have the images here for the gallery right in this area here, which I think is really, really cool. So what can you do with this view? What you can do here is you can move these around. So you can just click and move it around. And over here on your page, it actually does the update. So you can see here, if I move this laptop next to the headphones, it updates just like that. And then if I need to, let's say, delete this. Okay, so that goes. And over here, of course, you need to set your images number. So if it's 8, you'll have 8 over here. So right now we just have 4. And what I always like to do here is to disable the title and the pagination. Right, so back over here on the images, as I mentioned, you can move these around and that is really cool. Now, let's use some of these features that I mentioned earlier on, which are the gesture-based unit control. If I come over here to design and I click on, let's say, border, we can add rounded corners here. And again, I can just drag over there to the right. So it's right from 4 pixels. And we can see that this has now been added to all our images, the rounded corners, which I think is fantastic. So if you want to add borders and so on, we can see here we have our color picker. So this is a much cleaner way of working with our galleries. And I think this is really, really cool. So let's say you want to add more images to your gallery. All you've got to do is to click this plus button here and then select your image. Click select. And let's say I need to delete this. I can just delete it like that. And instantly, all this is updated on your page. So I think this is really, really cool. And you should go ahead and try it. Okay, so I'm going to come again here and check and see if we have any questions. Okay, no questions so far, which is good. I think from now onwards, if there's no questions, I shouldn't panic because I'm just going by the comments here from Ray and the others that if there's no questions, it means that things are being explained very well, which is a compliment, by the way. Excellent. Right. Okay. The next item I'm going to talk about is a rapid prototyping. Now, this is really, really cool. Let me show you. Right. So I'm going to come back over here to my site. Let's have a look. Where am I? Okay, here we go. Right. So back here on my site, I'm just going to close this. So I'm going to start from scratch so I can show you how this prototyping works. Now, let's say I need to build elements on my page. I'm going to start by adding a regular section here and single row. So maybe this could be an image. So I'm just going to add my image right here like that. Okay, so that's my image. I'm going to add more columns. So let's say this time I need to add a blurb like that. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but we are having default content being applied to our design here as I am adding all these things, which I think is really cool. This is something that we didn't have before, so I can easily have a quick look at how my site is going to look like without, stressing about what it might look like. So this is pretty much like a wireframe where you can see where things are going to be. Okay, so let me keep on adding more stuff here. So I'm going to add, in fact, let me switch over to my wireframe here so I can add my section like that. Go back over here to my other view. Right, so let's say I'm going to add a video to this one like that. Add a video, and the video also goes in here as well, which is great. I'm going to save that. Come over here. We're going to add something else here. What can we add? Right. Okay, how about we add an email opt-in? See, so every time I add a module, it has default content that comes with it. So this is great because you can see exactly how your page is going to look like and what elements, where the elements are going to be. So this could be ideal. Let's say you're designing a page for your client and you show them the prototype and say, right, this is the layout of your website and this is where the content is going to go. And then after this stage now is where you go in and then you start adding your actual images. So let me show you quickly how you can do that. So now that we have our prototype, we can now go in quickly and start changing things. So let's say I need to adjust my image here. I can just click in here and add my image. So let me see, what image can we use for this? Okay, let's go with this one here. Upload image. Okay, so our image has been updated, and then we can come over here as well, and then you can change your content over here. Go into the design, and then this is where now you can, do all your fine tuning. So for the title here, you've got your color picker in place. You can change your colors. We can make this bold if we wanted to, like that. So you can see now how easy it is. You can go in and start adding your actual content. Oh, in fact, I need to add an image over here. Okay. So I'm going to add my image. So we need an image that goes with that. So let me choose. In fact, I'll just go with, let's go with this one here. Okay. Excellent. So you can see how quickly this turns from a prototype to an actual looking page. So this is great, as I mentioned, if you want to quickly take a look at how your page looks like in terms of the spacing, in terms of where things are going to be. And then once you're happy with that, you can then go in and start adding your actual text, your actual images. And this is just a really, really cool feature. Now, let me show you that you can also disable this if you don't want to work this way. And to do that, you come over here. In fact, let me switch over to my computer, my desktop. You come over here on the bottom, and we notice that we also have right here on the bottom, add placeholder content to move to new modules. So if you say no, you won't have the placeholder content. So if I close this now, and let's try and add a blurb. I'm going to delete this one here. In fact, let me delete this one here. And now I'm going to add my blurb like that. And you can see the massive difference here. You don't get a preview, and this is how it was before, and this is how it looks like when you disable the prototype thing. So you have nothing that shows you that there's content here. So only when you start typing here is when you start to see things start appearing, okay? So as you can see, I'm not a fan of this because I have to imagine how things are going to be, and the things start appearing on the page when you start typing, which I think is a long way, or a much more difficult way of working. So I really like this new feature. And what do you guys think about this prototype feature? I mean, I'd like to know if this is something which you find beneficial, or something that you find is really, really cool. In my opinion, this is one of my best updates in this new interface enhancement. Okay, so I'm just going to close this for now. Right. We have quite a lot of comments here. Let's have a look. Berth says, I was working in Divi all day today and found the new controls for padding and margin useful. Definitely. Thank you very much for that feedback. I'm glad you find it useful, because what we try and do at Elegant Themes here is to make your design process really, really awesome. And I'm glad you like these features. Let's take a look here. Wayne says, can you change colors by RGB? I don't think you can, Let me take a quick look. Let me just go in quickly and check and see if we can do that. Yes, we have RGBA. So definitely you can do that. In fact, let me show you how to get the RGBA values. Okay, just going to switch over here to my desktop. Right, so if you want to get your RGBA values, so you come over here to whatever item you're working on. Let's say it's text, and let's go into design, text. Right, so let's say you want to add an RGBA value. What you need to do here is to click on the actual color, and to get your RGBA values, because RGBA is to do with transparency as well. So you drag this slider over here on the right, and you notice here that this is changed now from hex to RGBA. So this is now where you can enter your values between those brackets to get the value that you want. Okay, so I hope that I've answered your question. Right. Dr. Steve Turner says, can you adjust the image upload size? Yes, you can. In fact, let me see if I can do that quickly. But I wouldn't recommend this, to be honest, because you wouldn't have done your compression and the sizing precisely. So ideally, you want to do all your resizing in a software like GIMP or Photoshop to get the right sizes and also the right compression on those images. So I wouldn't really recommend that. But there is an option in WordPress where you can do that. In fact, let me see if I can do this quickly. Oh, in fact, let me show you my image. Right, so I've chosen an image here from my media library. So over here to the right, you see where it says edit image. If you click on that, you can go in and do, basic edits. So here you can scale it to, let's say 600 by 600, like that. You can also adjust the aspect ratio. And you can do a few things here, like rotate the image if you wanted to, like that. Okay, but that's pretty much what you can do here. So you can adjust your sizes, but as I mentioned, I don't recommend this option because, let's take a look here if we have any more. I think it's AV says, is it possible to set the default text in language other than English? I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. This is something that I need to take a look at, and then I'll have to get back to you on that one. Not sure. Beth says, I need to animate the mail to link. Do I use CSS or can I do it with Divi? I'm not sure where that mail to link is. Where is that link? If you can just expand on that, I'll be able to respond to that. Okay, I'm just going to check here on Facebook and see if we have any questions here. Karen says, I thought there used to be page templates already set in the basic Divi library when starting new page. This was handy without having to download the whole new theme. Was that right? Has this gone now? Am I imagining things? Okay, Karen. We used to have these templates before, and we have now replaced that with the pre-made layouts. So it's the same thing. These are pre-made layouts which have, the layouts of the page that you need to use. The only difference is before we did not use our images in those layouts because of copyright issues. But now, since we have an in-house design team that specializes in in the graphics and the photography, we have now just replaced those areas that we had before on the templates with the actual images. So yes, you are not imagining things. That's how it used to be before. Okay. Let's take a look here. We have two more things that we need to cover. So if you're just joining us, this is the Divi Feature Update Live, coming to you every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Today, we are taking a look at the new Visual Builder Interface enhancements, and just going through and seeing where these changes are and how you can apply these in your design workflows. Okay. And also, if you're just joining us, this live stream will be saved, so you can always watch the rebroadcast on either Facebook or on YouTube. Okay, so back over here, let's move on to our next item. So, take a look. So we are now going to talk about the improved option clarity. Now, this is something which was quite confusing for quite a few people, but now we're able to use this easily. So if I come over here to, let's say, my section settings, click on background. Before, we didn't used to have this add background color text over here. We just used to have this. So sometimes it will be confusing what this paint bucket is for, okay? But now we've labeled this, and if you come over here on the next tab, it also shows you that add background gradient, which is cool. And then over here, this icon here, is for adding a background image, and then over here it's for adding a background video. So again, this is something that we've just improved just to make it easier for people to find their way around your Divi when you're designing your websites. Okay, so the final thing we're going to talk about now is the inline spell check. So if you're, in fact, let me come over here. So let's say you want to edit something here, inline, like that. So I'm just going to add a wrong spelling by, you can see now that we get that underline straight away. So that's your inline spell checker, okay? So you can always right click and add in the right, okay, the right spelling. Now I use a program called Grammarly, but this definitely works without even using Grammarly. So you can just, if you make a spelling mistake, you can always go in there and then right click it and fix that spelling. So this is something which I think is also good, because it just makes sure that the copy on your website is correct and everything looks good. So pretty much this covers all our Visual Builder interface enhancements. As I mentioned, these updates which I think will improve this the UI and also the speed of your workflow. So I think this is a great update. So download, update Divi 3.2 if you haven't done so already, and try and use these straight away. So next week we're also going to have some more updates to Divi, so do stay tuned for that. And to everyone that is tuned today, I would like to say thank you very much to each and every one of you. You are the ones who make this show really, really exciting. I really love coming to present to people that are very interactive and very excited about Divi as well. So thank you very much for that. So we've come to the end of our show. In fact, I'm going to check one more time and see if we have any questions here. George says, I wonder when the next update will be. Hopefully next week we're going to have another update. I think it's Rutta. I don't want to pronounce this name wrong. But anyway, the question is, does the spell checker work on in Spanish? Now, as I mentioned, I'm not really sure about the languages, because I've only used English when I use Divi, so I'm not 100% sure on that. So this is something I'll need to get back to you on that, and I'll leave the comment in the comments box. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and do tune in again next week, Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. And if you haven't pressed the bell notification on YouTube, please go ahead and do so, because if you don't press the bell notification, you will not be notified when I go live. So thank you very much for watching once again, and have a great week, and see you next week. Thank you.